Welcome to Learning Online at Wiley College. I'm so excited that you'll be joining us today for the session on Knowing the Basics, Teaching Online in the e-Raser LMS Center. This is offered from the Center of Excellence in Distance Education. Throughout this workshop, we're going to explore some of the basics of getting started teaching with the Center of Excellence. We're going to talk about how to course copy, setting up your units and gradebook, how to think about ways to increase engagement, including announcements, discussion boards, and assignments, and then ending with some institutional policies and procedures. So first things first, you will need to go into your course shell and copy your course. Here you will see a quick image that shows you the course copy function. In addition, a quick tip guide has been created that makes this process very simple. All you need to do is go to the Wiley website that will be provided at the end of this webinar, and you will see information for finding faculty resources. Please note to make sure to read all steps before copying, as this process cannot be undone. The next thing to consider is adding your welcome letter. Your welcome letter sets the tone of your course. It also provides students with general information about your course. Students use the welcome letter ideally to know what to do, where to go first in your course, and it's a great information starter. Adding your welcome letter, as you see here, is very easy. Under the main page, you simply click where you see the green arrow to edit content. After you click edit content, feel free to add your welcome letter here. In addition to welcome letter, the announcement feature is a great tool to increase engagement. Most faculty find that this is a strategy to remind students about important dates for tests and other up-and-coming and important dates for the course. It's also a great way to encourage your students throughout the week as they are working through the material. Next is your syllabus. Your syllabus is a really important part of any course, online or face-to-face. But in an online course, it's especially important as it's the guide that helps manage students' expectations. Think about your syllabus as a map, a roadmap for students to be able to navigate through your course. A good syllabus should include a lot of general components that you would see in a face-to-face course, such as the course prerequisites. In an online course, a course schedule and grading policy is also very important. You need to also determine what kind of possibly communication policy you'd like to provide. So if you expect that you're going to get back with students in 24 to 48 hours, which is Wiley's policy, you may want to put that in a communication policy so students know when to expect to hear back from you. Similarly, you may want to also include information about when you will be giving back their graded assignments. For instance, a faculty I know has assignments due on Sunday at 10 p.m. Her requirement is that on Wednesday by 5 p.m. she will have all items graded. Think about what will work best for your course and work best for you, and start to figure out how to create that policy in the syllabus. Lastly, you'll note on the page is a link for Salsa. Salsa is a great free opportunity to build your online syllabus in a very creative way, and then link that syllabus into your course that you're teaching. Many faculty at Wiley use this and really enjoy using this feature, so you should try it out. I want to talk to you a little bit more about the Centers for Excellence in Distance Learning course requirements. Most courses through the year run 12 weeks throughout the semester and 6 weeks in the summer. The Center for Excellence in Distance Learning requires you to create 6 units for each of the courses you teach. Now remember, you're going to be copying over material from the course that has probably been previously taught, and so it may already have this structure, but in an event that it does not, take some time to make sure that you are setting up your 6 units. In addition, please think about adding your faculty information. Students want to know about the faculty that teach them. They want to know about your expertise, your background, as well as your office hours. Under course information in the e-Raser LMS system, you will be able to easily provide this information. Let's move on to talking about the gradebook. It's important to set up all required assignments in your gradebook for the course. Wiley asks that you only load assignments and items in the gradebook that will be graded. These are items such as your discussion board, if you assign a paper to students, if you have quizzes or other assignments that will be graded. I'm going to walk through a couple of steps of the grade book just to familiarize you with how this can be done. First, you'll notice that you can set up the letter grade configuration. On this slide, you can easily see, and students can see, what the determination is for an A, B, C, D, and F. You can see to the right of the screen, you can change to a different grading scale. If you know that your point system is 1,000 points, and that system is laid out under the A through F system, you may want to make the adjustment so that students can see the final configuration of grades. As you look at this screen here in the gradebook feature, you will notice that there is a pie graph that is being outlined with a red arrow. This also shows you the final grade weighting. So you can see in this note that Unit 1 assignment, Unit 1 assignment general paper, and Evaluation 2 have all been loaded in the course. You can typically see that right now for this course there are 250 possible points. You can see that Assignment 1 is 40%, Assignment 2 is 40%, and Evaluation 2 is 20%. Make sure to click this link to see how your weighting system will be averaged. I also want to draw your attention to a book-like feature on the same tab in the final gradebook. In this tab, you will notice that you can also see your students and their grades on each of the assignments. As I mentioned to you before, you see that I had general assignments that were created. The student here has a final grade, the Unit 1 assignment, Evaluation 1, and Evaluation 2. Each of these items will be loaded, obviously, when you grade these evaluations, but you can quickly and easily, as well as students can quickly and easily, see their grades in their gradebook. Setting up your gradebook. One of the things also to note is when you set up your gradebook, you can set up the gradebook in a way that students won't be able to see the grade until the due date passes. So for instance, on this assignment, Veronica won't be able to see the grade until the due date passes of 8/4/2014. You can change this grade, you can change this parameter, but it allows you to be able to do so. You also note that there is an option to reopen a discussion board post. I know many times students may ask you to extend discussion board time periods, or you may change the requirements of when discussion boards are due, and here is an example of how you can do that. I also wanted you to note that you're able to see a detailed assignment history, so you can see when an assignment was turned in by a student, you can see the deadline that it was turned in, you can also see the timestamp if a student did or did not take the assignment or discussion board post. All these things are easily found in your gradebook. The other thing to note is it's really important if you're going to create an assignment for students to upload a paper of some type of document, you must pick the second option, the file upload format. Anytime you create an assignment that you're expecting someone to browse and submit something to you, you have to set this up first so that they are able to do so. I wanted to point this out and bring this to your attention, and I know that sometimes students may be a little confused if this is not done beforehand. Spend some time creating that assignment and making sure to click this second link, the file upload format. Now I'd like to move on and talk a little bit more about discussion boards. Discussion boards are used in many different ways. You can use them as the beginning of the course as an introduction to icebreakers. You can use them throughout the course for students to be able to share ideas. I know one faculty who does a discussion board as she asks students to think about research topics and be able to give each other feedback. You can use it for debate, critiques, mentoring, and there are many ideas of discussion boards, but we're going to talk a little bit more about that right now. And let's talk a little bit about interaction and collaboration. Courses should generally think about 3 types of interaction and collaboration, and this also applies to discussion board. You should think about 1, instructor to student collaboration. What are you doing in a discussion board, for instance, to make sure that your posts allow students to engage with you as a faculty? In your course overall, feedback and responses are given through emails, written and voice discussions, chats, and announcements. Number 2, Content to student engagement. When you're creating your discussion boards, how are you asking the students to think back about what they've learned in the course or the material of the course? And 3, what are the student-to-student interactions? How are you asking students to engage with their peers? So we're going to look a little bit further on this as it relates to the discussion board, but I wanted to bring this to your attention as we think about all pieces of collaboration and interaction in an online course. When writing good discussion questions, I want you to also think about Bloom's taxonomy and vary the types of questions. If you're asking students to post or respond to a post where they're just having to remember information from the chapter or from the material, it's a lot different in terms of their critical thinking if you've asked them to apply or explain or compare and contrast what they know. Think about also including all the details of your expectations. Manage students' expectations in online courses as much as possible. Include the due date, the length, the requirements. We even consider you to go as far as create a rubric for online discussion boards so students know exactly how they will be evaluated. Plan expected responses carefully and not just respond to students. So think about how you can create a very dynamic discussion board question. Here's an example of one question. If you look at this question, you'll notice in the very first sentence, I am asking the students to relate to the research article. So that gets me content to student. I'm saying based on the things that you read, I want you to then be able to answer a series of questions. If you look at sentence number 3, I'm saying finally you will respond to 2 initial responses of members in the course in the system, in this example in Blackboard. So now you will see that I have already hit content to student, I have hit student to student, and instructor to student. As the students answer these questions, I will be responding back to their post to give them more information. So we've hit all 3 areas. Let's look at this example. I wanted to show you this example because if you look at paragraph 2 and paragraph 3, this gives a little bit more detail than that last example. You will see here, we go a step further and say to write a 200 or 300 word response, and we also ask for APA format. We also give a deadline for the first initial posting. We also say when you respond to your peers, 100 to 150 word responses, and give a deadline for that. This level of specificity helps students know exactly what you're looking for. It manages their expectations and makes sure that you're really clear and when you're grading them on what work they've provided. I would like to wrap up this webinar today talking about institutional policy at Wiley for online course attendance. In compliance with federal requirements to document student attendance in online classes, faculty must record a weekly academically related activity such as a discussion board forum, quiz, reflection, assignment, telephone call, or electronic communication at least through week 7, or a drop with W deadline for each student in an online class. This is in line with our communication policy at Wiley of best practice of regular, timely, effective student-faculty contact, and is vital to many of our students receiving financial aid. The problem is the definition of attendance in fully online courses impacts many of our students here at Wiley in various ways, but most significantly for students with financial aid. For example, the last day of attendance is used to determine the amount of aid a student is eligible to receive when that student withdraws or leaves the course. Unfortunately, at the current time, no college-wide standard definition of last day of attendance is currently in place for fully online courses. So an appropriate solution is to develop a college policy and/or definition to establish more accurate attendance record keeping for online courses. So, as we think about academically related activity for the purposes of attendance, think about meaningful participation from your students in an online discussion board. Students initiating contact with you as a faculty member to ask course-related questions via email or chat. Think about them completing quizzes, tests, or submitting assignments through the learning management system. Student tracking of course site login and student posting of bio or discussion board form are not acceptable forms of attendance. The other policy at Wiley that's important that you know is that students are expected to attend all classes beginning the first day of each semester. A no-show is a student that does not attend at least one class session by the 12th day of class for the semester, which is consensus day. Registration will be canceled for any student whose name is submitted by the instructor of record to the registrar's office on census day. The no-show student will not be charged tuition for cancellation registrations. Students must realize that there may be serious consequences for becoming a no-show student. Academically related activity, again, in this area consists of, but are not limited to, meaningful participation in an online discussion forum, students initiating that contact with you as a faculty member to ask course-related questions, or completing quizzes, tests, or assignments. If students are doing these meaningful opportunities, then they obviously are not a no-show. But if they are not, students will need to be loaded as a no-show. So I want to first thank you for listening to this webinar today, and you may wonder, okay, so what are the next steps? First, I want you to go and review the Quick Start Guide located on the website that shows you information about how to load your course material for the new fall term. Create your welcome assignment, set up and populate your weekly units, set up your grade book, and review your course content and fix any broken hyperlinks images that you find. Here for more information is the website, and we wish you a wonderful semester.